Thanks to those joining me live and to those that'll be joining me on archive. I'll be bringing back the live Q&A tonight, just FYI for everybody out there. The live Q&A, right, will be up and running tonight, 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I wasn't able to do it for the last few weeks. We're going to get that um, we're going to get that rolling again. We're going to get that rolling again. I wanted to do this video really quick um, about having a set standard on anything regarding the sport of boxing. It's having a set standard. And what does that mean? What do you mean by that, D-Style? Well, let me tell you what I mean by that. All right? Oh, those watching archive, put the thumbs up. Support the channel. Leave a comment and tell me what you think. I see you, Red Fox. What's up, bro? All right. I'll have the chat up, so I'll be a little more engaged here for this. So, but excuse me, at times I'll be kind of busy talking. So, I don't want to reroute the conversation, I believe, this is my opinion, but I think it's a very valid one. A majority of boxing fans and a majority of YouTube uploaders do not have a set standard when it comes to certain things in boxing. I think they look at everything at a case-by-case basis, and depending on what argument or what position benefits their fighters or their favorite fighters or the fighters they're defending, depending on what that is, that influences what their specific stance is. So let me give you an example. Let's say one thing that I believe everyone should have a specific standard on is catch weights, right? Now, DStyleBoxing, this hasn't been my only channel, but of the years that I've been on YouTube, of the times that I've been on YouTube, I've always had one position, when it comes to catch weights. One. What is that? My position has always been that catch weights are absolutely unnecessary. They're bad for the sport. They give an unfair advantage to a fighter because they're trying to gain. That's the whole purpose of it. They're trying to gain an advantage by making the so-called bigger man weaker. There's no other reason why you would ask for a catch weight. I've also always stated a world title. If a catchweight fight happens, it happens. I'm not going to like it, but I'm not going to stop it from happening, obviously. I'm not against it happening. But when it comes to a title fight, I've always been against a catchweight fight. Always. I don't care who the fighters are. I don't care what position they are. I don't care if they're popular, not popular, if they have a big fan base. I don't care where the majority of fans stand. No matter what, I am against a catchweight fight, no matter what, when it comes to a title fight. That's it. And it's been like that with me since 2009. I've never wavered, never had an exception when it comes to catchweights. Ever. It's never happened. So whenever there's a catchweight fight, I'm against it. If it's for a title, I say it's bullshit. I don't care what the situation is. I'm against it. That is because I have a set standard when it comes to catch weights. That is because I'm not going to change my mind when it comes to catch weights because my favorite fighter is asking for a catch weight. Okay, so let me give you an example. So when it comes to these catch weights, when Pacquiao asked for a catch weight, to challenge Miguel Cotto for the welterweight championship, I was against it. Now, I was a fan of Cotto, so one might say, well, that's only because you were a fan of Miguel Cotto and you hated Manny Pacquiao, right? All right. When Manny Pacquiao had a catch weight against Antonio Margarito at 150 for a title, I was against it. Now, it's clear I did not like Margarito, so you can no longer say it's because it's my favorite fighter or something like that, but you can still say, well, that's because it's Pacquiao, right? When Marquez asked for a catch weight at 144 against Mayweather, I was against it. Now, that wasn't for a championship, not that I recall, but I was still against it. I know Mayweather didn't make the weight, and that's a different discussion. But what are you going to say now? I was a Marquez fan. He was the one asking for it. It didn't matter. I was against it. When Paul Williams asked for a catch weight at middleweight against Sergio Martinez, I was against it. When Cotto asked for a catch weight against Martinez, I was against it. When Cotto and Canelo fought at a catch weight for the title, I was against it. When Mayweather asked for a catch weight or whatever narrative it is, Canelo challenged Mayweather to a catch weight fight, but it was for a championship. I was against it. Okay? There's never been a scenario where I said, okay, in this case, it makes total sense. Never, ever. Now, you may have disagreed with me in some instances. You may say, well, in this instance, come on, DStyle, you could be a little more flexible. But what you can't say is that I'm inconsistent when it comes to this topic. Because I set a standard since 2009, and that standard is not gonna change. I don't care who it is that asked for the catch weight. I don't care who it is. I don't care who offered it. I don't care about the circumstance behind it, because I have a set standard already. And I get your point, Red Fox. Cotto asked for a 1 pound catch weight. It was so unnecessary. While I agree with that, I was still against it. Because one of the arguments I always hear is it's not going to make a difference anyway, right? So if it's not going to make a difference anyway, then why even do it? I mean, that's never made sense to me. But I have always been against catch weights. I always will, right? Everybody knows I was an Andre Ward fan. If Andre Ward asked for a catch weight I would be against it. It's not going to change. No matter what the fight is, I'm not going to waver from that position. And the most recent one, and I've honestly been behind this for years, but it's been a huge topic of debate going on, and it's undisputed champion, right? In my opinion, most people in the undisputed champion argument or lineal champion argument, set aside what you personally think for a moment. I honestly believe that a majority of uploaders are basing their position right now on whether they're against it or for it, right? They're basing it out of how it benefits or doesn't benefit certain fighters right now, right? And that's what they're basing it out of right now. Me, I don't care what the landscape is now. I don't care what the landscape is 5 years from now or what it was 5 years ago. My position has always been the less champions, the less people with belts, the better. So that means I'm all for collecting all the belts and having one champion with no one else having that claim. I've always been for that. So obviously I'm for an undisputed champion in all weight classes. That position is not going to change. I'm not going to make a quote-unquote judgment call, because all that does is open you up to become biased in certain situations, even if you don't mean to. Because we are all biased to a certain degree, all right? Everybody is. So if you don't already have a set standard, your own cognitive bias is going to make things inconsistent. You're going to become inconsistent, especially in the long run, okay? And when people look, it's easy to kind of try and be consistent for a month or two, but after a year, after 2 years, a pattern of inconsistency will show itself if you don't have a set standard. So that's why I've taken on this set standard. And I just believe that everyone should have a set standard on everything. So what do you personally believe makes you the best pound for pound fighter in the world, right? All right, whatever that is your opinion, right? And we all understand that we all have different opinions. However, are you going to follow your standard? Does your standard change if another fighter you don't like is suddenly meeting that criteria that you set yourself? All right? So whatever it is that you believe makes somebody the best pound for pound, right now you could easily make the argument. Let's say if you, for example, if you want whoever it is to be the best pound for pound in the world, you couldn't make that argument because it is subjective, right? And that is understood. You could make a subjective argument as to why fighter X is the best fighter in the world, in your opinion, right? The question is, does the way you see it change 2 years from now when another fighter you like is on top, but he's not really quite meeting that criteria that you're setting right now? And I think it's important for everyone to have a set standard. So whatever it is that makes, like in your opinion, if Lomachenko's #1 pound for pound, right? And that's your opinion, you have every right to it, then you better follow that. Or okay, let me reword that, because then it sounds like I'm giving orders and telling people what to do. And that's not my intention at all, okay? When I say that, I'm saying if you want to be consistent, all right, I'll word it that way. If you want to be considered consistent, all right, and objective, then you have to follow that same criteria moving forward. So I don't have a problem with people disagreeing with my position. I don't have a problem with people disagreeing because it is subjective, it is opinionated. But what I have an issue with is when people are inconsistent, okay, with their own opinions. It changes from fighter to fighter, right? So if I say, what makes a fighter great? Well, what makes a fighter the best of all time? And I've asked this to Floyd Mayweather fans, right? And they'll say, when there's no blueprint to beat you, when you're undefeated, you're the best ever, right? So by that logic, then Rocky Marciano is the best ever at heavyweight because he was undefeated. And then it becomes, no, but. Well, I mean, you've already changed your standard. Like your standard has changed all of a sudden. What about Joe Calzaghe? No, but Joe Calzaghe never fought anybody. And, all of a sudden, the standard changes, right? And if somebody says, well, that's because Pacquiao moved up from 106 and he went all the way up to, 150 or 152, however high he went, right? Okay. Well, look at where Roy Jones started, and he ended up fighting John Ruiz. No, but all of a sudden there's a but. Like this is why we have to put perspective in a lot of these things, and why I believe a set standard should be set. I understand it's more complicated with certain topics, and what makes a fighter great or the greatest of all time is more complicated than one set standard. But that's my point. Like, that's my point. We need to understand that it's more complicated than just saying, well, he's undefeated, so therefore he's the best ever. That doesn't quite work, Well, he beat more world champions than anybody in history. Okay, well, I mean, that's fine, but then we have to talk about what makes a world champion. And we have to talk about how many titles there is per division, and stuff like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we have to talk about those things. Because if Mayweather is greater than Ali just because he beat more world champions, then almost every fighter in today's era is better than Ali because they beat more quote-unquote world champions. All right, let's see some of these comments really quick. Red Fox, in some situations, case by case has to be done, but standards must be considered. Red Fox has agreed. Red Fox, I'm okay with catchweights unless they put a fighter at a disadvantage. Well, all catchweights, by definition, bro, are putting somebody at a disadvantage. Let me put it this way. If something is by design, not naturally, but by design, making the playing field more quote-unquote even, to me there's something wrong with that, right? So what I mean by natural is if one guy is naturally bigger than the other guy, he's just naturally bigger than the other guy. If he's just naturally faster, he's just naturally faster. If he's naturally stronger, he's naturally stronger. Well, whatever. If he's just a naturally better fighter, he's a naturally better fighter. What isn't natural is, well, you have to make it more quote-unquote even, you need to drop an extra 2 pounds at the scale. Then it becomes manufactured, in my opinion. It becomes problematic, in my opinion, right there. So, just saying. Boxing fan, just to spread some boxing information, we got Golden Boy on ESPN tonight, and tomorrow Jesse Vargas returns on FS1. Also, Lemieux Saunders on Saturday. Very interesting. I actually got Saunders in that fight, but we'll see how it goes. A lot of people have Lemieux. Red Fox, I can get catch weights if a fighter is trying to get his feet wet in another division. Well, I mean, they're only separated by a couple pounds, bro. This is my thing, but yeah, I got you. Like, weight classes, they already have catch weights in between. We have 16 weight classes or 17, whatever it is. Red Fox, thanks. It's going to be another good week of boxing. Povetkin versus Hammer Friday. All right, well, we're redirecting here, but I got you. Floyd should have fought Claudia instead of Marquez, says Red Fox. Cotto asked for a 1 pound catch weight. It was unnecessary. I got that. Red Fox, I didn't see the point of Canelo Floyd catch weight since Floyd already fought at 154 twice. I didn't either. Now, a lot of people will justify it by saying, no, it was Canelo that offered it at 152. Okay, I mean, I get it, but it doesn't change the fact that I was against. Red Fox says he used to be for Undisputed. Since 93 Sports, if two fighters meet at a weight that is actually considered a division, is that still catchweight in your opinion? Well, no, because it's at that weight class. I think what people are missing here, and this is my problem with weight classes, is it is damaging to the sport in many ways because the human body doesn't separate itself automatically by 4 or 5 pounds at a time, So if you set a weight limit, all right, which is kind of like a lost thing now, there should be a weight limit, all right, meaning no one could pass this amount, which is really what it is. But fighters should be able to weigh in. If both fighters are not weighing in comfortably, then there is an issue. I mean, that's just the way I see it. If both fighters are not weighing in comfortably, then someone is getting an unfair advantage. That's just the way I see it. Well, Rigo and Roma didn't meet at 126. The fight was at a 126 limit. You know, that's what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? But you know, at this point, it's just semantics. But Red Fox. So in that case, Vasil has to come to 122, 126. You know, like that's the issue. But yeah, they made it 126. Loma comes down 4 pounds. Rigo goes up 4. Well, it would be a 126-pound limit fight. That's what it would be. It would be at an official weight class. If it's an official weight class, then I'm fine with it. I mean, I understand the argument. Technically, it's a catch weight, but it isn't at the same time. Best ever so subjective to sports talk with Choi. I agree. Fan International Boxing. What's good, D-Style? What's up, bro? Red Fox. Let me read this comment here. And Canelo countered that with he wouldn't have gotten in the fight if there wasn't a catch weight. Floyd also discounted Pac's win over Cotto because he said it was at a catch weight and Cotto was weight drained. Well, there you go. By Floyd's own standard, right? This was Cotto losing 2 pounds, just like Canelo had to lose 2 pounds for that fight. That's true. It's very true. I know the Cotto situation, he weighed in at 156 against Clottey. And then, of course, so they were arguing it's only 1 pound. It's not even going to make a difference. All I know is that if the argument is it won't even make a difference, then why do it? That's always been my counter argument. But anyway, that's just my take, guys. Have a set standard. You know, that's all I ask. Try to have a set standard on shit. And that's all I got. I got to roll. I got shit to do. All right, guys. Peace.